Hey, here we are live on a Sunday evening here in Melbourne town. We are going into the longest night of the year, the winter solstice. Of course, in the Northern Hemisphere, they'll be having the longest day, the summer solstice. It's all about time. Hello, Shieldsy. Hello, Megaleech. Okay, I'm sending Aidsy a link so he can jump in. Meaning, depending how cogent he is, he will join us anywhere from now to half an hour from now, or never, you know. Who can tell? Who can tell? One of those things. So it's you know, AD time, theoretically. Okay, he just texted, hope to see you real soon, which means we could be in Weirdville on AIDS's side of the world, which could mean anything. So we will see. We will see, we will see, we will see. Yeah, that's about it. We will see. I just realized this is kind of suitable for solstice, this shirt. This was just literally the next shirt on the rack. And it's quite different to a lot of the other retro Hawaiian style ones I have been obsessively buying. I bought some more online today. They probably won't arrive for weeks, if not months. These shirts have never been fast to arrive, but they've always arrived eventually. And they're summer shirts anyway, so it doesn't matter if they don't get here for a while. I just wear them indoors because we've got heating, so I don't have to wear woolly stuff inside. Hey, Luke. Shizzy, you got back burning on Stradbroke Island. Wind changed and your place is full of bush smoke. God damn. Yeah. Back burning can be like that. Right, no more massages from AZ, so he might just join us, basically. So we can just hang about and see if he joins. What does Difford say we should drink for the longest day? A summer Americano. No, I think that's got stuff in it I don't like. A summer rose cocktail. What's a summer? Oh, that I actually made that last year. Vodka, creme de cacao, lychee. I actually have some lychee liqueur and grenadine. Maybe I'll make that, but with white rum, because vodka's bullshit. Yeah, I might even make that just for a laugh. Quitter on Twitch, hello. And Greg, hello. And yes, you're getting the odd cases of the COVID showing up in Queensland. New South Wales, they're right on the edge, New South Wales. The previous outbreaks have been managed, a combination of good management and good luck, but there was definitely good luck involved. And this one, Is it still going to work out? Has New South Wales luck run out? Who knows? Quitter, I am fine. How are you? I don't know whether to say this fine evening or day. Not sure where in the world you are. As you can tell by the blackness behind me, night time here. Ian's World, hello. How is it going? And yes, look, that is a good point. Quitter, know most people watch via YouTube, so that's where most of the chat is. A feature I use StreamYard to restream to YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook at the same time. What I wish there was a feature it could do that I always see people doing on Twitch, where all the chat comes up on the screen, so everyone could see what's happening, no matter where they were watching it. It would be cool if StreamYard brought that feature in, but that feature does not exist. Right. Quitter, well, I'm glad you're good. It's good to be good. And we'll see it. Ooh, a nutty summer. What's a nutty summer? I'm just looking at drinkers. I'm feeling of having a beverage. Nutty summer. Advocaat, amaretto, coconut rum, pineapple juice. Fuck yeah. No, I'm going to make that. That's the dessert drink. And I've got Advocaat and I haven't used it for ages. I should use some Advocaat. Shieldsy, there was a case in Queensland. Oh, yes. I did read that. It was cabin crew from an international airline. It's just like the federal government's got to get their shit together with both a vaccine rollout and fucking border control. Their only responsibilities, and they're fucking it royally. Ian, you're saying someone went shopping knowing she tested positive, went to DFO. That would be a very foolish thing to admit, because I think that would get you in a lot of trouble. So I don't know if there would be actual confirmation. But then again, some people are weird ideologues and would actually say something stupid like, it's not even serious, it's fake, it doesn't matter that I went to DFO after I tested positive. That was the cabin crew lady? Okay. I just kind of saw a headline about that. I hadn't seen much. So, right. I'm going to get some ingredients together for a nutty summer. I'm going to make it with macadamia. So what do we want? Pineapple, Advocaat, and a cream. Okay, I'm going to go. Ooh. Hoping that's still okay. Wait, I had Advocaat in here. Where did it go? Okay, this is weird. Where is it? Might do this. I'm sure I had a thing at Advocaat. Now I don't know where it is. Oh, in the back. Man, it's been in the fridge, so hopefully it's still okay. Bought this at Christmas time and I never use it. Sort of egg custard liqueur, essentially. What do I want? I want macadamia and coconut rum, which are both over here. I think the coconut rum is at the back here. Nope, that's my pachin. What's this? What is that? Ah, that's my macadamia gin. Wait. Where the hell is my coconut rum? Wait, is that it there? Okay, coconut rum. Too many bottles, I couldn't find it. Oh wait, and the macadamia liqueur, which is just here. Yay! All right. Shieldsy, biggest issue, she tests 3 times, all clear, last test was positive. Well, that's the thing. One day you got it, next day you don't. Or one day you don't have it, next day you do, I should say. We're going to put this in a martini glass because it looks sexy. right. Sexy martini glass, shaker. Get some ice. Do. Lots of ice. Oh, I need my jigger. And I don't know where that is. Did I put it in the dishwasher? No, I don't think I put it in the dishwasher. So it's here somewhere. Been a bunch of stuff going on in the kitchen today. Lots of stuff been made. Oh, fuck, there it is. I didn't fucking put it there. Fucking when someone moves something. Because I always put stuff back in the same spot. So if someone moves it, it's all gone to shit. Oh, Ian, you're thirsty now. Ian, you got a friend who drives cabin crews, not policing them correctly. No, border control fucking sucks. Chris, we're about to have your shortest night. It's messing with your sleep. I just need to test if this pineapple juice is okay. So I'm just going to get a little glass to pour it in and look at it. Just to be sure. To be sure, because I don't remember when I opened it. It should be okay, but I really don't remember. So that looks fine. Luke, can you ask if Lee, who joins this, is from Adelaide? You think you saw him today? I don't know. Oh, sorry. Yes, I do know who you're talking about. Is Lee in the chat? Yes, Lee does live in Adelaide. Yep, that tastes fine. If I throw up in 15 minutes, you'll know I made a poor decision. Does it taste fine? Who knows? What does off pineapple juice taste like? So, Chris, your sunsets don't change, but sunrises do. Okay. West Coast. We get really significant difference both ways. Like in winter, and this is daylight savings plays into this as well. Winter, it's dark by about 5:30. Summer, sunset's about 8:30. And in the mornings, summer, sunrise is, I don't know, 6 a.m. or something earlier, 5:30. And sunrise in winter's like 7 to 7:30. What was it actually saying? What was sunset today? Yeah, it's 5:08 today. So that's how early we get sunsets. But it doesn't really get dark to 5:30. Ian, you're dark in Brisbane at 5 p.m. Yes, we're on different, what was it? Meridians, latitudes. I forget what the fuck it is. But speaking about forgetting what the fuck it is, it's 80.
Hello. I'm just organising my shit so that better.
Okay,
now
sounds good.
You can hear me better, and I can hear you better. And
well, that's good.
There you have brought the remember of my love to see me tonight. Thank you.
Yes.
It is that one. You're looking very, very Hollywood producer today. And not one of those creepy Me Too ones, but one of those ones that has just made something really fabulous and needs to be fucking, like you're at the end of 15th interview and you're a little tired, but still with it enough to say what an amazing art world program this is, and how combining the 3D CGI was an important part of getting the message across.
Yep.
I don't know which.
Ugh. All right. I'm just.
Fuckers mustard.
It does, doesn't it? It's Advocat, which is basically egg custard liqueur. It's
Nothing wrong with that. No,
yeah.
I'm not prejudiced, except against Inuit.
Yes, we've expressed the Inuit problem before.
The problem is that there's fucking Inuit. You wouldn't know, or you would know actually. They fucking stick out like dog's balls in the snow.
So Shieldsy thinks you look like you've lost a bit of weight.
Oh, Shieldsy, I fucking love you. I haven't. Not enough anyway. I'm trying. I am fucking trying.
We're all trying, mate. We're all trying.
Oh God, I'm fucking being really disciplined about fucking not eating more than once a day. I'm trying to fucking do more exercise, which is difficult.
It is difficult
because I get short of breath. And I was thinking, oh fuck, I've got either A, the Rona, or B, I've been vaping too much, and I know which I'd prefer.
You know which you'd prefer.
You know, stick me in hospital with the fucking, you know, the other people on the ventilator for the Rona. I'm not going to give up the vapes. Give up too much already. And which reminds me, I haven't had a vape in a while.
That's fair.
I'm a little bit scattered tonight because I've been in computer world looking at algorithms and vars and data types and linking them together. And I've been doing that. And I've also been waiting for some cunt. It's not a good combo. And I did nod off for a while, which was good. But then I woke up again, and then I realised I hadn't had a vape for a while, and then I was talking to you, and then I still realised I hadn't had that vape. You know how sometimes you go, oh, I've got to go for a piss. And then you just get involved in something. Right? Or something happens and you just got to do this thing and this other thing happens and then this other thing happens and then 45 minutes later you go, I had to do something. Oh, that's right. I still haven't had that piss. And you got to go, ooh, and then go. And you go, oh, I should have done that 45 minutes ago. And then it's a bit like that with vaping. You know, only you'll die if you don't vape.
Right.
If you don't piss, you're fine, really, you know.
Hello, Stella. Stella's glad to see you remain undead. So,
hey, Stella, how you doing, gorgeous? How are you?
Who, me?
Yeah, with the good-looking director's hair.
I washed the hair this morning, so it's all fluffy. I didn't put any product in it. So now that it's long, it really is kind of fluffy and out of control if I don't do anything with it. So,
nice. I like it.
Yeah, but you know, like I like to wash occasionally.
I'm not into it. I don't like it. I have to get my dressings changed twice a week. Like to wash twice a week.
Oh.
And I don't like to wash twice a week, but I do.
Yeah. So
very unpleasant.
My biggest medical thing is the CPAP machine. That's the only thing I got going on.
Is it working for you?
Continues to work. Went down from, like I said, the sleep test said you're having 35 episodes an hour, which means stopping breathing 35 times an hour, to less than 1 an hour with the machine. So
awesome.
Yeah, so it works. And Mrs. Angry says I'm less grumpy. particularly after a drinky night. Like if you have a drinky night on the stream, she says I could be a bit grumpy after that the next day, but now I'm not. So
I've noticed.
Better sleep.
Bloody, you look fresher too. You look
Thank
fresh
you.
in the face.
Thank you.
Do you feel more lively in the morning?
There's one thing I ask, because sometimes, like, you know, the specialist, the guy giving him the machine, he's asking how it is, because, you know, some people immediately go, "It's a miracle! I'm changed! I'm dancing out of," and I go, "No, not so much." But now I'm like 4 weeks into using it, so I've gotten really used to it, and I do realize two big differences. I'm almost always really deeply asleep when the alarm goes off in the morning, but it's really easy to get out of bed. Whereas previously, I felt like I'd always be semi-awake when the alarm went off, and still spend a bunch of time going, "Fuck." So I'm sleeping more deeply and getting up easier. So
that's great. That's really great. That's really, really good.
Yeah, it was somewhere between funny and I was mildly offended when Mrs. Angry said I'm less grumpy. And I'm like,
moi?
Grumpy? Moi?
Moi?
Moi? So,
corn. Porca, corn.
Yeah, I know. It's slanderous. It's terrible. But yes, apparently less grumpy. So
also, people tell me that you will probably find it easier to lose weight.
That is supposed to be part of it. You know, I'm still in the early stages of the long range plan, but you know, things are going well. I'm going to have to get more holes punched in this belt I'm wearing, or the pantaloons I'm wearing. In fact, these pants I bought before I started losing weight, and I couldn't do them up. And I was like, I like these pants, can't quite do them up. Okay, these are going to be reward pants down the line. I'll be able to wear them later. And I'm now realizing, if I don't get some extra holes punched in this belt so I can tighten it a bit more, the pants are in danger of slipping off my hips. So,
oh, that's sexy as hell.
Yeah,
that is sexy as hell. I've got some reward pants sitting in there that are quite old.
Yeah.
And I have a new set of normal pants. Because the set of normal pants that I had, that I was wearing all the time, tore very badly. And I asked the boss of the house to fix them. He said, "Fix fucking what? It's, what am I, stitching holes to holes? It's
no.
It's such a huge rip. You've ripped the inner leg out of the knee and off the other fucking you've basically done a stripper thing and grabbed the crotch of it and ripped it right out of the arse to the knee on one side. It's like, it's not going to work. Like, if it could work, it'd look like Frankenstein, but there's no fabric to actually hold it together. It'd just go flip. And he said, "Fucking go and get another pair of pants." I said, "Oh, I've got another pair of pants." And he said, "We'll go with a tracksuit and get another pair of pants." And I went, "I am not getting you another pair of pants." So I squeezed myself into a bad pair of pants that makes me look like a plastic bag that's been tied with string, various different ways.
Oh dear.
Plastic bag full of water tied with string. So I went, 2 pairs of pants in a hurry, and one of the pair of pants just is dumb. It's right, because I only wear cargs. right? Because I've got a lot of stuff that I need to carry.
Yeah.
And it's got to be a card or it's got to be nothing.
Yeah. Lots of pockets. Need lots of pockets. Lots of pockets.
It's necessary to have pockets.
Yeah.
So I go and get the cards, and one of them's got this stupid fucking elastic ankles. And
Yes.
it's a string tie.
Yes,
so
I don't like those.
Saying, you're a fat prick. You have no fucking dignity. Fucking put this on to at least cover your cock up, you dirty, fat card-wearing cockhead. So, all right, I atone for my ills of not showing my Australianness. I'll put these cards on and be happy with my lot.
Yeah.
And I'm not happy with those cards. They're just dumb. So I thought I could cut the fucking elastics off, but that's something that I'd have to get his name is boss of the house to do.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's into it. Because he told me to fuck off a couple of times.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm with you. Those ones with the thing on the ankle, don't like them. The elastic on the ankle, don't like them.
And they were drawstring too.
Yeah, no, don't like it.
Yeah, fuck off.
Don't like it.
I got a belt, and I've got an adjusty belt.
Okay.
It's probably dumb because I don't know whether I'm actually losing holes or gaining holes. I always had a holes belt, but the last 2 holes belts I've had have gone and bent. The metal latch has bent, and I've gone maybe because I'm an FC, or it's because the belts that I'm buying are not from Taiwan. They're from Pakistan.
Yeah.
And not only have they got shit metal practices, because they got shit leather working as well. And maybe, they're going, oh, these are Western men's belts. They bombed my wedding with a fucking drone. They can go and get fucked.
Yeah.
I'm just making that up, but
that could be it.
That's a probable reason.
That could be it.
And so I thought I'll get an adjusty belt. Where you put the alligator clip clink, and then you put the other one through and go clink. And it's working unless you get the alligator clip wrong, and then it just goes blah and busts out all over the place. And people in the mall go, oh, come on, man. Just fucking be an exhibitionist like everyone else. So I don't know if I'm putting on or losing, but I got myself another pair of normal pants today, because the other normal pants had so many stains on them. It looked like I was a Reefer Madness user. You will know the Reefer user from the semen stains on his pants.
Fear and Loathing.
Basically, they used to tell cops that.
Yeah. There's a whole speech in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas of the district attorney convention he crashes, and while the movie there was a movie with Johny Depp, which is all over the place, but that scene where Hunter and his lawyer are off their head on hallucinogens, with all these cops getting this lecture that's absolutely surreal about, the pothead and the semen stains on their pants and whatnot. And it's that's one of the better scenes in the movie, because it's truly surreal.
I didn't tell him about the bats. The poor bastard would find out soon enough anyway.
Yeah.
It's one of my favourite lines.
Yeah.
In any book.
It was a very good opening line. Like, we were in the desert somewhere around Barstow when the sky began to fill with screaming bats.
I've had fucking days like that. Seriously.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, go on tour with a bunch of comics. You'll have days like that.
You will. You absolutely will.
Anyway, so I bought myself another pair of pants so I can launder my other pants. Now, these pants are black.
Right.
And the good thing about black pants is that you can stain crap out of them. I shouldn't have said crap. You can stain the shit out of them. And you can basically hide that stain for a few weeks while you're laundering your other pants.
Yes.
And that's a good thing. Because these green pants that I got, because they're not. See, the other thing is I like army camouflage cargs because you can stain them and they hide.
Yeah.
You know, that's what the camouflage is for, to hide the coffee stains.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, you know, in the jungle. Yeah. I'm coffee in the jungle, looking out for the sea. With my high-powered rifle. And that's not a fucking metaphor for my penis. That's a metaphor for sticky sugar.
Absolutely.
Anyway, and that's not a metaphor for semen either. All right? Fucking head out of the gutter. And anyway, but the trouble with these green pants is, you know, you spill, you know, fucking cherry flavored fucking icy pole on them, and it looks like you've got this you know, horrible layered, you know, tincture paper that you did in high school with texture over ethanol, and you got, you know, the different layers coming up, and it's like, what the hell was this? A science experiment to test drugs? Were you testing drugs on your pants? Were you? No, I'd like to test drugs. So I got black pants now, and I'm going to launder my green pants, and life is going to be good. But the pants that I got were very slippy, and I thought, that's good. And they're still a bit tight around the legs. But I thought, oh, hang on just a minute here, Mr. Franklin Jones. You do have a couple of edema running around your legs.
Yes.
Which would make your legs a little bit fat. And I was looking at myself side on in the mirror, and I was going, no, still a mother. And however, I was looking down and I saw something that I hadn't seen for a while. And I thought, that's a good sign. That is a good sign.
So you don't have to guess when you're going for a piss anymore. It's like, it's probably there. Now you know where it is.
Because who knows when it's going to turn up.
Yeah. Well, I had a fun one today. Most days, try to do daily walks with Mrs. Angry. Just nothing outlandish, sort of bracing walk, 30 minutes, 45 minutes around the park and shit. Just, you know, get out, have a bit of exercise, all that good stuff. And because cold time of the year, it's like, okay, what jacket do I need to wear? And I got this sort of heavy leather jacket for the cold days. And for the ones where it's like, it's probably a bit too cold to just go out in the shirt, but I don't want a really heavy jacket, I have this denim jacket. And I never do it up. And that's because of El Fat Bastardo. So, like, I literally haven't done it up for years. I just rakishly wore it unbuttoned because it looked cool. Also, because I couldn't get it together. And I don't know what. I just put it on and I went, I don't know. And I pulled it in and buttoned it all the way up. And I'm like, literally haven't done this. I don't know how long, like for years. Because also, unlike some people, like, have you heard the term fast fashion?
Yes.
It means like fast food. It's like people buy cheap stuff. Only wear it once and throw it away, and it's really wasteful. It's incredibly bad environmentally, and it's exploitative. I'm like the opposite of that. Like, I think I've had this denim jacket for 10 years or something. So
Same.
yeah.
I am the opposite of fast fashion. I have had T-shirts that literally they become lacework on me.
Yeah.
And I get told the T-shirt's got to go, and I go, no, it's just become comfortable.
Yeah.
And they go, no, you look like a hobo. No, we're supposed to be kind to our friends on the streets. I've been wrong. Hi, Kirsten. How you doing, gorgeous?
Everyone who comes in is very excited to see you because we haven't seen you much lately. So just thought I'd let you know that every time someone comes into the chat and they see you, they're very excited. So yes, it's an AIDSy night, so everyone's all very excited by that. I love everyone was talking about, Chris and Stella and whatnot, like, oh yes, I've got reward clothes as well that I keep convincing myself. No, I believe in you. If it's what you want, you can get there. I'm at the early stages of the long-term plan. In a perfect world, I might be reaching significant goals by the end of the year, because that's also the thing I've learned. You can't do massive weight loss and maintain it.
You can't.
Got to be gradual.
You can't. I was fucking worried because I did massive weight losses and maintained it for a long time, and I thought, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
And then I went and had a chat with my friendly pharmacist and friendly doctor, and basically they said, oh yeah, the combination of drugs you're on will put on weight. I'm going, fucking thank you for telling me that, you motherfuckers. Because that's the one thing I didn't need. And I just went, at what point was anyone going to fucking let me know? Because I've been fucking punishing myself to fucking lose the weight, and this combo of drugs did it. And I went, oh yeah, no, that's I thought your doctor would have taken you through that. I thought your pharmacist would have taken you through that. And I'm going, well, AIDSy's taken me through that, and AIDSy's lived through that, and AIDSy's now deciding which one of these drugs to fucking drop. So why don't we have a conference about what we're going to flick, or they'll all fucking go. And I'll go back to AIDSy's pain relief program. And that's got them moving. They're starting to really fucking think through what's going on. So yeah, I've heard women tell me, oh no, I'm not going to go on the pill. It puts on too much weight. And I go, oh, that's fair enough. But then now, fucking having experienced something akin, I've gone, fuck yeah, righto, I understand you. But I've also had women tell me, and this is something I'm saying I don't know, right? I'm not saying I'm judging. I'm saying I don't know. I've had women say, oh, that's not a thing if you find the right pill. And I'm going, don't they all do the same thing? And then I've been slapped around hard. Like
very different ones.
Going,
very
no,
different
they
ones.
don't do the same thing, and they work differently, and there's several different types.
Right. There's a lot of different ones
at the end, because no, mate, doesn't work like that. So I went, well, maybe I've got fucking hope as well, Maybe I don't have to have the same, fucking setup. The trouble is I'm so fucking stable at the moment that everyone's really, really happy with what I'm doing. Like, they're really happy with the amount of everything that I'm on. So they're going, we really don't want you to do anything. The only trouble now is that my legs are starting to rot off.
All right.
And then, hey?
I laughed, but not because problems with legs. Just I never stopped being amused by your ability to be really casual. Like, yeah, my legs are rotting off, fuckers. You know, it's just like, yeah. Oh,
well,
also,
I
really
mean,
quick.
once you've had your balls cut off, everything else is pretty much fucking gravy, really. Hey,
Fox's birthday. Happy birthday.
Foxface. Wow.
Yeah.
31 now or 31 tomorrow?
Well, he says today is the birthday.
I thought you said birthday tomorrow. 31 now. Well, happy birthday, Foxface.
Yes.
I had my birthday lunch from my in-law family today because it was the first time they could get it together since the 24th of May. And only half of them could make it. Thank Christ it wasn't an intervention because I'd be fucking dead. Only half of us could make it. It's your extended family and a cousin that you've never seen that's worried about your drug use.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Good.
Yeah. That's that classic when you walk into a room full of people and they all go, "Hi!" and you go, "Oh God, is this another intervention? Jesus."
Or a surprise birthday party.
Yeah. It's like which of the two is it? Oh God, that reminded me of one of my favorite old jokes. Bloody, it was Akmal Saleh back in the days when he called himself Peter, because that's how old we are. Because he's our age. He's
Peter
like
Saleh was his name.
Yeah, in the early 90s. Yeah. In the early days, he was trying to sound a bit less like an Arab. He's Egyptian.
Well, in the early days, he was 12 years old when he came to Australia, and his dad died, and he suddenly became the man of the house. And he had to get his shit together real quick to fucking feed and school his two younger brothers and mother. And that's a man who can live on his wits. Yeah,
literally, as it turns out. We had this joke, and this is like a 30-year-old joke I remember him telling. He's just like, it was a birthday joke. I was just had the shit day. Like I lost my job. It's like everyone forgot it was my birthday, and this went wrong and that went wrong, and it was the most fucked day I've ever had. And I got home, and I'm just slumped on the lounge and said, "This is just the shittiest day." Tried to cheer myself up by masturbating, and then he pauses for a second and goes, "I fucking hate surprise parties."
And fuck, he could time stuff well.
His timing was very good.
He's got this ability to go, oh, blah, 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 and blah, and blah. And he's got this tone and almost a baton rhythm going, and then he'll, and you, anyone else, like, it's a pause, wait for my joke. But with him, it's just he's breathing and thinking about the next thing. And then he'll hit you with, fuck, I hate surprise parties. And then bajang. And it just hits like gravity. It's fucking gorgeous. And that's one of the ones that he tells, you know. And I remember when he was doing that one, he did this like vague motion with his arm. Because you can see him slumped on the couch in your mind. He's got this vague motion with his arm, and you can almost see him watching TV, and then, fuck, I hate surprise parties. Bang, and it's all on, and just go, oh, Jesus. Because that was about the time, too, when the joke was running around about the girl who came, well, it was an urban myth, about the girl who came home and smeared peanut butter all over herself and then called for the dog. Surprise party. And there was always some girl at school who knew a cousin of a barber's apprentice's friend who knew the girl who did it. But you know, I'm sure it's happened.
I mean, I've been suckered by urban myths twice that I, at the time, didn't realize were, because the person telling it, it wasn't second cousin's barber's dog keeper. They literally said it was someone who's one step removed from me. It was my housemate or so. And because they made it so intimate, I just went, oh, that was the thing that happened. And then years later, I'd just read like that's one of the oldest urban myths going. And I went, fuck them for lying to me like that, because I actually believed them. One was people come home to find their house burgled, and a bunch of stuff taken, and they're all upset, and then and including like their camera was taken. And like this, I was told this so long ago, it was a film camera. These days, you'd say it was a digital camera, and they got things. But anyway, a week or two after the burglary, a thing of photos gets delivered to their house, and it was like the holiday photos that were on this camera, that got stolen. It's like the thief decided to print them, and they're going, "Oh, I was worried about. Oh, this is beautiful." And the last photo is a guy in a balaclava in their bathroom with their toothbrush stuck up his butthole, and I was in a house, and the guy saying it happened to this guy here, and so I believed it, and then later I found out it was a really old urban legend. Another one was the everything goes wrong when you meet the partner's family thing. And it includes like sitting on the chihuahua and killing it, and they're all being. But then you're like, I need to, and it was a girl this happened to. I need to go to the toilet, and so it's top of the stairs, like third door, and she goes up and she can't find it, and she finds a bathroom, but there's no toilet, and she's freaking out because she's literally going to piss herself, and she goes, I can't keep looking. There's a sink, so she drops through and sits on the sink, the hand basin, to piss into it, which was never designed to carry the weight of someone sitting on it. So while she's sitting on it pissing, it breaks out of the wall and the whole thing comes down, and the vanity thing hits her on the head and knocks her out. And so the family go, what was that? And they burst into the bathroom to see her pants around her ankle in the middle of a pool of piss and whatnot. So, that was the end of that relationship. And again, she told me this and made it sound like it was like her friend this happened to, and this was not a person prone to lying, so I believed it. And then years later, I read that's just a really famous urban legend, and I was like, "Oh, and fuck them!"
You feel so ripped off. You feel so dirty, and as a comic, you feel so had that you didn't come up with that first.
Yeah.
I discovered years after this, same phenomenon that you're experiencing or have experienced.
Yeah.
That there's a book of conversation starters that has all of these fucking urban legends in them.
Yeah. Did you hear about?
If you want to carry on an extended conversation with someone, you can tell these stories and get it moving, and it will sound like you've got something to say and yet not have the attention on yourself. And I read all these, and they sounded it was basically how to make a quick, deep relationship with someone so they'll start to talk to you in an opened up way. And so you can make yourself feel a little bit happy with the fact that people told you these urban legends because they wanted you to talk to them very badly, to the point where they wanted you to find them interesting.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's a good thing. So, sorry, I just thought Jonathan saying hello, and he's also pleased to see you. So,
hey, Jonathan, it's good to see you.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Thanks for putting me
Metal
on.
Maniac.
I appreciate it.
I think Metal Maniac Matt has a similar story. The poo window. I've not. Do you know the story about? Oh, okay. See if it's the same story. Because I don't know it. You tell the poo window. What's the poo window?
Okay, so the poo window is there's a couple of different versions of the poo window.
Mm-hmm.
The one version is He's running around the big house at night, can't find the toilet, so poos into a sock, and throws the sock out the window.
Yeah.
Only to find that in the morning the window was shut and the sock hits the window and fucking flies everywhere into the window. The other version is the can't find the toilet, finds a sort of a side room, bathroom, closet, poos out the window, out the sill, only to find that it lands all over the conservatory roof and runs down the wall.
Right.
So was that close to the poo window?
Right. That's your poo window story. Okay. Oh, Jonathan, you're fixing bikes. Well, thanks for dropping in and saying hello in the midst of bike fixing. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, that poo going down the conservatory, that's like there's an episode of The Simpsons where Homer, for reasons of his own, is nude and he's attached to a balloon and he's trying to, and there's a new church that's all made of glass so they can take in God's splendor, and Homer's naked form splats onto the sliding roof, and the priest who's about to say, like, lift our eyes up to the glory of God, and he goes, bow our heads in prayer, bow our heads, bow our heads. And he looks up and Homer's really slowly being dragged across this glass thing. And he goes, head still down, still in prayer, head still down in prayer. Just naked Homer sliding across the glass. Yeah, with that sort of noise of the squeegee going across the glass. Yes. Oh, dear. It's a way.
I've always wanted to watch The Hour of Power and see birds whack into it.
Yes.
But that's just me.
Yeah. I remember, one time, working in a big glass office tower and coming in the morning, the imprint looked like a seagull, and because it was whatever it was, the bird. Yeah, no, we laughed. The bird was dirty and greasy, and it's clearly hit the window at full speed because its wings are outspread, and you got wings, side of a head, and a bird body greasy imprint on the glass. But the funniest bit, there was a shit stain going down. And because it was on the outside of a high up building, that only gets cleaned like once a year.
Wouldn't you though?
Yeah, exactly. So it's hit the window at full speed and shit itself. So for months, every day, we had this greasy bird imprint with a shit stain running down.
Oh, that's great.
It was hilarious.
I would have done that if I'd hit a fucking, a force field at fucking Mach 2.
Yes. Oh, Stella's got a poo window story, and I think this might be the one Matt was saying. So that's one where, and this is an England thing with the double windows because of the insulation.
Yes.
The toilet's blocked.
Sorry, that's the version.
Yeah.
That is the version 1 that I had.
Yeah.
Throws it out the window to find splat. It hits the other window, like the window.
And so there's just all this poo. And there's a really outlandish story where she tries to climb into the double wall insulation bit to get the poo out, and she falls, and then she's stuck, sort of naked from the waist down, squeezed between these things, crying and having to explain to the boyfriend, I was trying to pick up the poo that I threw in. And that's the one Matt had heard. That's the poo window story Matt had heard. So
yeah. So I mean, the poo window story is a beauty. I'm sure it's in this book of conversation starters.
Oh my God, what sort of conversation starts with that though? My God.
Well, so this book of conversation starters is it's called something like Conversation Starters for the Timid to the Impressive. It's something along those lines.
Okay.
And you read this book, and it says this book is full of really embarrassing stories.
Okay.
And really, really out there tales. But what they are is not about you. They're about someone else. And all you have to do is, Boss the house, would you like me to turn the cameras off? Give me a second.
Yep, you got to fix some stuff there. That's cool. So AZ's looking after stuff there. Okay, I have Matt and Stella coming in the chat at the same time, saying the end of the poo window story is trying to retrieve it and getting stuck. As soon as you said that, Stella, I was like, oh, I saw that one. Megaleech, I don't have a photo of that because it was literally 25 years ago, so it was pre-digital photos. And Safa, it was about 15 floors up, so the windows only got cleaned once or twice a year. So the greasy bird imprint with the shit stain was greeted us every day for months. I was just kind of glad it did it out of hours, because I think it probably made a really fucking loud noise when it hit the window, and it would have scared the scared the shit out of the bird. I think it would have scared the shit out of all of us if we just had this huge thump on the window while working. That was in a call center back in the days when I used to work in call centers in Sydney, in the CBD of Sydney. So the olden days, my misspent youth in Sydney. Still in my 20s. What glorious days they were. So, sorry, I just saw a really weird news headline. Oh, there's some new study of the coelacanth, that prehistoric fish that was assumed to be extinct for hundreds of millions of years, but then someone caught one off the coast of South Africa in 1938. It's like, yeah. So what do they say? I did actually see that there was weird things about females don't reach sexual maturity until about 55 years of age, while males sexually mature between 40 and 69 years. Nice. And I think there's some weird thing about its pregnancy as well. But yes. Coelacanths. Megaleech. I don't think it is pronounced coelacanth, but I'm willing to be corrected on that.
It is coelacanth.
You saying it's coelacanth?
Yep.
Because
I've heard South Africans pronounce it and they go coelacanth. And if South African is saying coelacanth, then you know it's coelacanth.
If you're gonna bloody believe South Africans, I don't know what to do with you.
This is what I'm saying: is you take all the vowels and put them in the right order. It's a bit like speaking New Zealand. Everything's an I except an I.
Yeah.
No, everything's a U except an I, which is an E. Sexual deviancy.
Khan. Coelacanth.
Okay.
Coelacanth.
I just looked it up. It is coelacanth. For some reason, I used to say coelacanth, and someone corrected me and to coelacanth. Well, there you go, coelacanth. Jonathan's
it's
heading
like
off.
Saying Vance and Vance. Fuck off. It's Vance.
Yeah.
You don't advance Australia Fair. You advance Australia Fair.
Well, it depends where you went to school. It's like whether you're from Newcastle or Newcastle.
Yeah, but you don't listen to Victorians speak.
Which one do you think is Victorian?
Hey?
Which one do you think is Victorian?
Aunts and White Crow and fucking bloody pots and fucking pints and stupid things like that. Fucking
No,
get
you
real.
said that with relation to Newcastle. Which one do you think is the Victorian pronunciation?
Castle.
Right. Possibly the first person I ever heard, and it freaked me out, the first person I heard say Newcastle was from Wagga Wagga, which is close enough to being in Victoria. So
It is actually. Yeah,
yeah.
no, Castle is a Victorian pronunciation and Castle, the correct pronunciation is everywhere else. And you can usually pick a Victorian because they say stupid things like Castle. And even I'm saying it beer with 2 syllables in it.
That's pretty broadly across Australia, though, to say to unnecessary. No, I didn't say universal. I've always said beer. It's pretty widespread to say 2 syllables instead of 1.
Oh yeah. No, I'm not talking about the diphthong.
Yeah.
Not talking about the diphthong. I'm talking about beer being 2 distinct syllables, whereas in Australia, beer is beer, except in Victoria.
I always grew up saying beer.
I went through hell learning the language here.
I
I had to go to special night schools. They would take us out to supermarkets at night. The special 24-hour ones, and the night fellas would just laugh. Here comes another class of immigrants. I can do that to my fridge too. Sit down there and just reach things from it. That's because I'm in a tiny house. However, I've got a bariatric chair. I'm getting worried, dude. Anyway, my joke's buggered now. Since you went and got the bariatric juice out. But yeah, I didn't realise that we had such a wide dialectical accent. I mean, you look at Britain and go, that's a wide dialectical accent.
Every 5 miles.
Right there, every 5 miles, the language changes.
Yeah.
I was listening to Patrick Stewart talk about his hometown and how it's actually a different language, not only a different dialect.
Yeah.
There are actual real lexicon differences in words, not just fucking ways of speech, just real fucking changes in language. And he can speak about 4 or 5 different languages. One of the reasons they got him to do Jean Picard is because he can actually speak French really well. And he said it was because he had learned to speak English because the language he spoke wasn't English. And he also had to learn to speak English 3 different ways. Not to be, he said, not to try and sound all posh, so that people would understand the words coming out of his fucking head. When he was in London, he couldn't speak the language they spoke up north because people didn't understand that language. And he understood them just fine. So he changed the way he spoke and they could understand him again. And then he still had an accent, and he changed that around so he could get more roles. And he realised that if you can change your accent around, you can do anything with your language. And he also said for fun, he wanted to see just how hard it was to learn another language, and he started with French. And he went, it's not that fucking hard. Once you get it down and you realise that tables are she's and chairs are he's, you can get with it. And he learnt French, Japanese, German, and Arabic.
Yeah.
And he's got this whole collection of Arabic poems. He went to buy an illuminated Arabic manuscript from a guy in Tunisia.
Right.
And got put on a watch list.
My God. Oh.
And apparently that story made its way into V for Vendetta, because you'll remember
Oh,
that.
yes. Yeah.
You'll
The Stephen
remember
Fry
that
character has. Yeah.
what's his real name?
The actor.
Yeah.
Stephen Fry.
Stephen Fry's character gets
Yeah.
busted for having Arabic in his house.
Yeah. Well, and also for being gay and making
and for
fun
being
of
a screaming faggot, homosexual, and for
making fun of the fascist
government.
leader. Yeah. But yes, he's gone for all money because he's kept forbidden works of art, including an illuminated manuscript of the Quran. And yeah, so they kill him. But the thing with the multilingual stuff, it just popped in as someone linked me to this video of Werner Herzog, the German filmmaker. And the thing was like, journalist asks Werner Herzog how many languages he speaks. And he starts like, oh, well, And I thought this is going to be this typical Euro person who blows monolingual English speakers' minds because he's going to speak a million languages. But it went in a way I didn't expect. Like he's going, yes, German and Russian and English and Italian and Greek. And then he just randomly, and he's talking about ancient Greek and Latin. And he goes, but I won't speak French unless you put a gun to my head. And I thought it was just like, I thought it was just a joke about fuck the French, right? He said he's learned French, but he won't speak it unless you put a gun to his head. And I thought that was just a general joke about, fuck the French. But he said, no, it was a real thing when he was doing a film in Africa. It was in one of the old French colonies, so a lot of the people speak French. They actually got hijacked by bandits, and they were being interrogated at gunpoint, and this guy's yelling at him in French and basically said, speak French or I'll blow your head off. And so Herzog spoke to him in French because he could. And so he relates that story really casually, and he goes, that's the only time you'll get me speaking French.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Nat King Cole,
Yeah.
noted for one of the fucking silkiest voices in 20th century music, could sing birds into bed,
Exactly.
down from the trees and into bed. He was Stardust was one of his most famous songs, and it's one of my parents' most favorite songs.
Yeah.
Anyway, he was a piano player in the 40s, and he was playing piano early 40s, late 30s, early 40s, playing piano at a bar. And this drunken at a restaurant bar, and this drunken fucking, I guess, farmer, white guy. I just like saying he was a farmer because I don't like farmers.
Fair enough.
Comes up and says, "Oh, I want you to sing me this song." And he says, "Oh, sir, I play the piano. I don't sing." And he says, no, I want you to, it's a special night for me and the woman, I want you to sing me this song. So I know how to play it, sir, but I don't sing. I really don't sing. I just play the piano. And he pulls out a gun and puts it to his head and says, nigger, sing the fucking song. And he goes, right. And he sings the song. And later on that night, he said, well, fuck, if I can sing a song with a gun to my fucking head, I reckon I can sing a song just normally. And next night he starts singing songs while he's playing the piano. And everybody's going, awesome. And he's going, yeah, fuck it, let's go. That's how that King Cole started singing. Sing, nigga, sing. And And yeah, if I can sing with a gun to my head, I can sing anytime I want.
Mm.
And I reckon it'd be really cool to get a whole bunch of comics and get a gun out and go, make me laugh, because that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
At many venues.
Yeah.
I won't say exactly the line because it's very offensive. But there are many gigs where they say "make me laugh" and the rest of it. And Sydney's very much like that, because Sydney's a fighting town. You've got to fight to get lunch, and then you've got to fight to get back to work, and then you've got to fight your boss because the report was right, and then you've got to fight your way through traffic to fight your way home, and then fight to get your kids organised to get the babysitter and get her there on time, and then you got to fight to get your way back into town, and you got to fight to get in the restaurant and get there, and then you fight to get into the bloody venue, and you got to fight to get your seat and get your beer and sit down, and you're right, make me laugh, motherfucker. It's like, hi guys, how you doing? I had a great day. How about you?
Yeah.
And no, they're not having a great day. They're in Sydney, and
Yes.
and the aggro that comes off them, and you see really good MCs take that aggro and then just bring it into fun. And that's why MCs in Sydney get paid often more than the feature performances. Because they've got all this work to do to bring this fucking aggro in the room into a zone of calm. And often they'll get the better comics to do the MC work. When I came to Melbourne, it was a different story. The feature performer always got the bigger money. But then I saw the feature performance here and I thought, that's why you're getting the bigger money. And MCs in Melbourne had to go through the tropes, and they had to go through the form, and they had to go through, they had to know their shit, but they had to go through, and the audience was much more educated here. In Sydney, they're pretty rough. In Canberra, they're fucking hopeless. They think that the idea is to make the comic cry. It's a bit like having the student teacher. They think the idea is to make the comic have a bad time, and it's like, you weren't there to laugh. And it's like, obviously not. There was one particular venue in Canberra that was notoriously the worst gig in Australia. And I've played that venue 3 times and won once. The second time I played the venue, I was having an okay sort of time. In my career, things were going well, and I wasn't very confident the first time I played, and so I got howled down and howled off. Second time I came out, I was feeling pretty good about the world.
Yeah.
And I was going, okay, so here you go, ladies and gentlemen. It's good to see you. I want to talk to you a little bit about, frankly, my dick. And I want to tell you about... and then I heard this someone go, fair enough. I missed that. Can you tell me that again? Yep. No, I would fucking say something back, but I really didn't hear or understand what you said. Can you just tell me again one more time, real slow, so I understand? And out of the spotlight, just fucking out of the spotlight, I saw a half full stubby of VB coming at my fucking head, and I just dodged it and went smash on the set behind me. And I said, understood you perfectly. I'll see you later. I fucked off. I was on stage for a maximum of 28 seconds, and the booker paid me. He said, no, you did the right fucking thing. You're not supposed to do that. He got ejected. You can hang out here for an hour and we'll take you out the back way to your car. Thanks. 28 seconds and gone, baby. It was the best laugh I got too. Understood you perfectly. I'm fucking out of here. And, then the MC said, we're stopping the show for 20 minutes while he gets his ass thrown out. And if you throw anything else, the fucking pub's going to close. Thank you. See you in half an hour.
Oh, goddamn. Goddamn.
Yeah. And both the booker and the venue owner and the manager all come up to me and said, you did exactly the right thing. Fucking, we've had comics who've done that and tried to carry on, and a riot has occurred. Because everyone gets it in their head that throwing shit around is the go. But if you shut that shit down immediately, which was my intention, copping a bottle in the head is something that I've done before. And that was at parties that I was invited to. Fucking, that's not the end of the world. No, fucking having bottles thrown around in large fucking groups of people who are packed together is a bad look. And I didn't want to fucking be in any way, shape, or... I mean, what about the girl up in front who can't move? Fuck that.
Yeah, exactly.
Glass all over her. Fuck that.
Yeah.
So get out of there. Just shut it down. And all I was thinking was, oh, well, you're not getting paid for that one, but you're getting out of here with that stitches. And they fucking paid me up. They were really nice, and I got one more gig out of it, and I won. I got out there, hit them hard and fast, and they were with it. They went straight with it, and I just was going, fuck, this is all right. I'll play here again, and then it burnt down. Yeah. Probably an angry comic.
Probably. You know what? You should watch the newest Bo Burnham special. Dropped on Netflix a week or so ago. It's called Inside. He did it like he spent a year in one room, isolation because of COVID. And he's like written, directed, produced, and staged. And what he does with the staging in one room, just by playing with lights and stuff, is utterly astonishing. He also appears to have somewhat of a breakdown, but it's always hard to tell with him. Is he just being super honest? Because in all his shows, he does a thing where he goes, "This is all a lie. It's artifice. It's performance. I'll do things, and I'll make you think they're true, and they're not. They're lies." But then you feel like, I think you actually just told me something that was true, but you can't be sure. Particularly about his mental health. But you just made me think of one line, because there's a few songs in it, and one of them there's a line that goes something like, how about we swap places? I'll lie down on my lounge and you sit in a room by yourself and try and make me laugh. And it's just like
nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. I'll lie down on a lounge and you
And that's the thing he's saying, because at least like when they do those, a big comedy show, those specials they do where, they workshop them for months and then they take them on the road for months and then it's refined and then they do the one special show that they record that the rest of the world sees. And he's like by himself for a year and has no idea how any of this shit is going to land. He just has to refine it to his standard, and he doesn't know how it's going to. He's got no feedback whatsoever about how it's going to hit.
I once saw a show with Eddie Izzard. It was the start of his world tour, and I got tickets from a friend of mine, and it was shit. And it was basically he came on and the only thing he had is he bought himself a pair of fake breasts and was showing them off. And he was just talking random crap for an hour and a half. And basically he was saying, well, I've just started this world tour. You can't rehearse this shit, You've got to just try it out and see how it goes. And my friend who bought the tickets said, well, that's all very well, but you don't have to fucking charge $70 a fucking ticket to fucking not rehearse your show or not write it. And I was both encouraged and fascinated by the fact that this very famous world comedian didn't know how to write a show, and didn't know how to write, and was basically sucked in to the whole myth of the artist as inspired. A friend of mine was devastated once. Hello, Pet Wallaby. Petite Wallaby. Jesus. Pet Wallaby. Why do I have to say that?
Petit, because it's French Canadian.
Petite Wallaby. Here you go. A friend of mine was distressed. It was Ellsbury, who was distressed to find one sheet of Edgar Allan Poe's a drafting on the Raven, and there's crossings out and questions and notes and relines and relines of a few things, and only one sheet survives because he was of the school of thought that Poe was an inspirationist. Just wrote everything out once. And that was it. Wrote it out once and it was perfect. And Byron used to make that claim that he was, or he used to put out that impression he was an inspirationist, and he wasn't. He used to go up to this castle in Scotland for 3 months and write his ass off and do fucking booze and laudanum and opium all night with his mates and party hard. And then from 10 o'clock in the morning till lunchtime, there was no noise in the castle. And then from the end of lunch till 6 o'clock, there was redrafting and editing time. And then after dinner, it was party till fucking 2. And then after 2, you could still keep going, but you had to be a bit quiet. And then he would arise at 9, breakfast. Everyone breakfasted on their own, and then he'd write like a fucking mad thing until sort of 1 or 2, lunch, do it all again, rinse, repeat. And then by the end of fucking the 4 months of winter they have, he had a book of fucking poems ready to fucking roll. The last fucking 3 weeks was just an editing frenzy. And then he'd allow himself to be found wan and weak in the salons of certain influential women, only taking water and the merest scrap of bread, because that's all he could take, because he was in the middle of an artistic rictus. And then he'd go, oh, I must go. And then he'd fuck off to his garret. And 2 weeks later, after he'd been to the printers, so he'd come to the printers immediately when he came back from Scotland and give him the book. And they'd start typesetting it up. And then 2 weeks later, he'd come in and say, okay, the name here is blah, the name there is blah, the name here is blah. And those women who had comforted him would find their names in the next book of fucking New Beauty. Because these were the rock stars of their day, right?
Yes.
And this was the rock songs of the day. And then everybody would buy the new book of Byron poetry.
Yeah.
And fucking the cash would roll in. And everyone thought, oh, he's touched by God, you know. He's given these verses of angels, and it was bullshit. I mean, he worked his ass out for 4 months a year, and then lived like a fucking rock star for fucking 9. Good fucking good fucking balance as far as he had his work life balance down. And I was always stunned to find out that a lot of the world was sucked in to this inspirationist view of artists, how artists don't see, because and this is the thing, right? Art is the root word of artifice.
Yes, it means fake. Yes.
It's fake. It
Yeah.
means not real. It means
Yeah.
A representation of.
Yeah.
It
The
means,
false
you know,
representation. Yes.
it's not the real thing. And good art, and it used to come from the old Greek and Latin when they used to say good artifice, knowing that you'd made up this fucking painting, you'd made up this play, because the life of Oedipus didn't happen in an hour and a half. It happened over 30 years. But in an hour and a half, you've got the life of Oedipus. And people think, fucking, that's the real thing. It's not the real thing. When you're in a movie, you don't go, and I tell you what, Inception did this the best I've ever seen. How did you get to this cafe? Do you remember walking to this cafe? You were just suddenly here, right? It's the most natural thing in the world. And because you're watching a movie and they use that convention all the time, it doesn't affect you. But you think about it and go, yeah, of course. How did they get to that fucking cafe?
Yeah.
I've just accepted that they're at that cafe and it blows up.
Yeah.
You know.
There's been a few movies where they've actually messed with that and sort of, it's like a jump cut and the person's going, the fuck, how did I get here? What the fuck? And everyone else is acting as they normally would in a movie. But the one person is aware of the jump cuts and everything and is getting really disoriented by every change. And they're just going, the fuck? What happened then? What are we here now? How did we get here?
But, I mean, this is it. This is the thing. This is the whole, you know, when you're a comic, you always get told, oh, tell me a joke. It's like, well, if you've got fucking 2 weeks, $500 and some patience, you'll get one. It'll be really good.
For you. Yeah.
Bonjour, Lee. How you going? Bonsoir, Lee. Where I am. If you got 2 weeks and patience and $500, I'll get you a really good joke. Also, I'll have to control the lighting, the environment, and the place that you are.
Yeah. There's an anecdote about Picasso because he was the most obnoxious cunt on the planet, which I actually, on one level, I love about him, but he was actually awful.
He was an awful man. I love him. Yeah.
He's in a restaurant in Paris in the mid-20th century at the height of his fame, and some rich woman says, "Oh, Mr. Picasso, can you do a drawing for me? You know, to have an original Picasso would be great." And he goes, "Sure." He's got a pen and paper. And he does one of his squiggly drawings. And she goes, "Oh, it's delightful." And he says, "You can have that for 20,000 francs. And she goes, "How can you charge 20,000 francs for something that took you 30 seconds? And he's like, "Fuck you. This took me 30 years. And it's just like, it's don't fucking tell me what it takes to create this.
Indeed, something you and I are working on.
Yeah.
The other great story I heard about Picasso was a kid came up to him on a beach and said, "Oh, Mr. Picasso, or Monsieur Picasso, you're a famous artist and wonderful. May I have your autograph?" And Picasso's autographs were selling for 2 million francs at the time, because he'd always do a little doodle with them. He said, "No problem, no, easy." And he grabbed the kid and he autographed his back and his arm. And he went back to Papa and Mama, who were looking to cash in. Fuck. Where do I get a good photographer?
Oh God, there was a really dark Roald Dahl short story about that. And it was time jump. There were these, young bohemians, and one was an up and coming artist. And when they're all drinking, doing absinthe, he's like to his friend, "I have to create my work." And he does a tattoo across his friend's back. And decades later, this guy's the most celebrated artist in the world. He's stuff around there. And this homeless guy seeing this exhibition is like, he goes, oh, that was my friend. That was right. And they're about to throw this dirty bum out. And he goes, no, 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 no. I lived with him for years. He did work on me. And the gallery curator is going, really? And this sort of smelly old bum takes his shirt off, and there's a tattoo across his back, which is clearly the work of this artist, and works for this artist are worth millions. And the guy's going, holy shit. The guy goes, I tell you what, that your skin is worth a lot, and your life's shit at the moment. I tell you what, if you sign a contract that says when you die, I can actually flay the skin off your body and preserve that tattoo, I'll keep you in luxury because, like, seriously, you're old and in very bad health. You're not going to live very long, but I'll put you up in a 5-star hotel, or every whim will be catered for, and I'll just get my reward after you die. And the guy goes, good deal. And then the story finishes with the narrator of the story going, and just a few months later, I saw a new work by this artist in a gallery, and it was on a most unusual canvas. And I don't like to think that it was this one, but I never saw that man again. And it's just like, so the gallery owners murdered the guy and taken the skin.
Like, this is great detective story, and it was apparently credited with being one of the first gumshoe, or one of the first
first detective mystery story.
Yeah.
Was it Murder at the Rue Morgue? As there was
No, it wasn't that one. It was a particular style of detective story, and it was done by a Japanese author in 1946.
Yeah.
Immediately after the Second World War, and he lived in Tokyo, or bits of it anyway. And the story was about wasn't called The Illustrated Woman. It was called something Illustrated, and it was about how they would display the skins of very famous tattooed, usually Yakuza, famous tattoo artists. The skins of the people who'd had their bodies tattooed when they died. And this woman had this amazing tattoo on. It might have been a dragon or something. It could have been the lady with a dragon tattoo. It might have even been the inspiration for the name of the girl with the dragon tattoo. Anyway, it basically goes through, she's in a lot of trouble. She gets the detective to help her. And then one day the detective turns around to his friend and says, we can't help her anymore. And the friend goes, what the fuck are you talking about? And then a week later they go to the gallery and there's her skin hanging up on the frame. And it's like apparently in this book the detective never says how he knows, but if you go through the book enough times, you work it out yourself. You work out that it's gonna happen. Anyway,
that's a bit intense. The one I was thinking of, it was a very early murder mystery, one of the earliest murder mysteries, and it was someone was killing sex workers in Paris, but no one could work out because they were being killed on upper floors of these buildings. The murderer would have had to walk past dozens of people to escape, and it's like, how did he do it? And then it was all tied in with local circus actually had a shaved orangutan that they were saying was a half-breed, whatnot. And so it was shaved, and apparently a lot of apes, if you shave them, look freakishly human. and orangutans in particular. And orangutans are quite intelligent, but they would dress this orangutan up in human clothes and whatnot. And so the thing is that the orangutan was going to brothels and had money and would point at a woman, and they'd go up to a room, and the orangutan would murder them and then climb out the window and climb down the side of the building, which no human could do. And I was like, and I first read this, oh, it's interesting. This was one of the first ever murder mysteries. And then you read the thing and go, for a first ever murder mystery, this is seriously fucked up.
Fucked up.
That is really fucked up.
And I when I first read it, I went, yeah, that's cool. Like amazingly cool. But come on, fucking serial killer orangutan? Really?
Yeah.
And then you hear the stories out of Java and you go, no.
Yeah.
There are serial killer orangutans. And they start with orangutans and they find out that it's way more fun to kill people because they're way more hard to do. And when they get when they get the fucking feel for serial killing people, and they've got to be much more cunning about it, they get real good at it because they're strong as fuck. I mean, you can't win. When
freakishly
you're in a fight against an orangutan, you are the loser. And apparently it's not old man orangutan with the the face head on him. It's the young fella orangutan with he's he's butting to become head guy, and they're the ones that apparently lose it because a lot of them realize they're never going to be the guy,
and they get very angry.
They will rape women, they will fucking kill people, and they will generally be fucked up units, fucked up hominids, they get really nuts. I thought it was just, just bullshit, but no, there's so many Javanese stories of whole villages and city police going out on the hunt. And there was one bizarre fucking story I heard, and I read it from a couple of, I was learning Indonesian. And it was one of the stories we learned in Indonesian about the hunt for the serial killer of Imbong Ta. And the city police got called in because they had riot squad guys and they could snipe. And they basically had this policewoman set up as bait. And sure enough, this orangutan turned up. And unfortunately, she got quite badly injured before they shot him. This story had like 3 or 4 different sources, news sources. So it wasn't bullshit. It was a real story. And they couldn't get this fucking orangutan. And, of course, what he'd do is he'd go straight back to the orangutan reserve and hide. Of the daytime, he was just a normal guy. Don't worry about it. And of the nighttime, he'd escape. And the trouble was many of them would escape, not just him. Like fucking fully a quarter of the male orangutans would escape, and they'd steal food, and they'd steal fucking trinkets to give to the women orangutans to buy their favor for sex, because only the dominant males get the sex. But if you can fucking convince a female orangutan to give you some, you're fucking in. So just this orangutan society blew my mind. It's like, this is too human for comfort. This is just like us. This is just as bad and as dirty as us. And this one guy was fucking getting out, killing people, getting his stimmos, coming back and, I'm just a guy. Don't worry about it. And they had facial recognition experts from around the world, like orangutan experts from around the world going, no, that's Charlie, that's Bimbo, that's Dino, that's Dino's twin cousin, huh? You know, and they just couldn't find this guy until they finally said, we're going to bait him. And then, he turned up because this woman apparently was wearing a hair streaked wig, and apparently that was his thing. The hair was the thing, and and she was just like hanging out naked, and she had to be naked in front of the window and going back and forth, going, I'm bored, I'm on the radio, and I'm bored, I'm really bored. And then apparently she screamed because the orangutan jumped through the window, second story window, and he's just straight in. It's quiet, like totally quiet. Nobody there knew. And the sniper said he saw a flash go past his scope, and then was the spotter was going, left, right, and they finally got him, but only after she'd been really badly damaged, and so she lived, but it took apparently surgery to effectively put her back together again. And she had a limp for the rest of her life because he'd really gone to town. This story is bizarre. What year did it happen? It had happened in 1981.
Oh, okay.
It was either 1979 or 1981. It was one of those two.
Yeah, around then.
It was Ibutang. It's in Java. It's in the northwest of Java. It's probably not there now. Probably the palm plantation now.
Who knows?
And the locals were saying this guy's fucking knocking us off one by one. He'd killed 3 or 4 men, but they reckon it was because he'd been caught in the act, and so they were just murders of fucking panic, like, you know, he'd been caught doing the deed, but he killed something like 20 women. Before he got well, they thought they had a regular human serial killer, but then they started to realize, well, A, there's no prints, we know where everyone was, it's not anyone, and then they thought it'll be one of the fucking orangutans, won't it? And because the locals knew they were violent motherfuckers. They weren't the picture postcard, let's save everyone. Hello, everyone. Looks like I've walked in the middle of another AIDS's crazy story. Nobody, you have. You
definitely have. No, it's someone else's.
It's not actually mine.
You know, you reminded me of an almost totally unrelated story, but there's an ape element. I love Blind Boys podcast. Do you remember the Rubber Bandits, you know, Horse Outside and all that? Blind Boy has built up a really successful podcast over the last couple of years. Like, he supports himself with a Patreon based on the podcast now. So he's happy. But he researches stuff. Like, he gets an idea and he'll go and read up academic journals and he'll find something and he'll do what he calls a hot take. He's going, okay, I've pieced together evidence A, B, C, D, and it makes me think this, which is fun. But he had one that was a completely random one, and because he's got a deep interest in Irish history. And there's this one story he'd found, and he actually found multiple sources that suggest this might be real. But it's from the period of the famine. So Ireland's being devastated by the famine. And it's the story of this. And he was talking about, it was like some of the first travel writers were from around that period in history, which is weird when you think about it, but they were actually publishing books of their travels. And one was a monk, and it was an Irish monk. He was doing his pilgrimage to Rome and all that sort of stuff. And he's all through Europe. And at one point he's in France and one of the major French cities, but he hears this story. There's a circus. It's got an ape that does all these tricks, does all this really incredible stuff when they like poke it with a stick and tell it to do it. And and the whole town's talking about it. So the monk goes down to see it, and there's this sort of hairy, gross, dirty thing in a cage, and the French circus guys are poking it with a stick. And one day do it and it won't do what they want it to do, and they're like hitting it with the stick and shouting at it in French to do it, and the ape monster gibbers back at them, and the monk goes, "What the fuck?" Because that's Guelga, it's the Irish language. It's going, and no one in France speaks that, because even it was a minority in Ireland who spoke it, and he's like, "What the fuck is that?" And he goes up and goes, wait, he's saying to the French, because he speaks French, he speaks Latin, he speaks everything, and this is French, goes, wait, hang on, and he goes in Guelga to the guy in the cage, "What the fuck is this? What's going on?" And he goes, he's like, I okay, the famine, everyone's dying and shit. I blagged my way aboard a ship, said I was a sailor, and I've never sailed on a ship, and I wasn't very good. And anyway, there was a storm, and the ship sank, and I washed up on a beach, and I had no idea I did. Apparently, it was fucking France, and these guys, and I was filthy and dirty and whatnot, and these guys captured me, and I don't understand a goddamn word they're saying because I don't speak French, and they don't speak Guelga, but they've made it very clear, like, do that, and I go, it makes them happy if I do this and whatnot, and the monk's going, "This is terrible. I've got to free you." And he's going, "Are you joking? Have you been to Ireland lately? These guys feed me. I get 3 meals a day.
It's a fucking gig, dude."
Yeah. It's like, they give me wine. I saw them drinking wine one day, and I went, and they gave me, and they thought it was funny that I get drunk. It's like, man, it's a fucking job. This is so much better than Ireland at the moment. And the monk's like, "Okay then."
Okay.
And he wrote it in his book, which was published. It was just like, it was such a funny story.
The bizarre part, when you were saying, they were starting doing travel diaries about that time.
Yeah.
Do you know we know most of Japanese history from the travel diaries of people? Because after one of the shoguns finished the road network, it was cool to travel. I mean, you've got the famous, I'm not going to remember his name now, artist who did 100 views of Mount Fuji.
Right.
And then you've got Basho, and then you've got who did the wave?
I know all the stuff you're talking about. I don't know the artist.
Anyway, so all these travel diaries came out, and it's like my travels from north to south, my travels from Edo to Kyoto, from Kyoto to Nagano, and the snow monkeys. The snow monkeys only started about 300 years ago, when they noticed people were getting into the hot springs. The Nagano hot springs were a secret hot springs, basically for the repair and recuperation of samurais who'd been hurt in battle, and their general put very great emphasis on rehab, because he'd noticed that once he rehabbed these guys properly, they came back out fighting good and hard as ever. And samurais are expensive when they're actually fighting. So he would take them up to Nagano, where he'd have the best massagers and doctors, and he brought in Dutch medicine, which was crazy at the time, and he would make them bathe once a day in the hot springs and relax, and then he'd make them do exercises which hurt but stretch their muscles. And the monkeys, apparently, in the middle of fucking winter, noticed these humans getting into the fucking hot springs and went, "That's good," and they started doing it. And the humans put a towel on their head to keep themselves from overheating. And the monkeys put snow on their head to stop themselves from overheating. And they'll stay in there for hours going, "Yeah, this is fucking cool. I like it. I've had I've had some food this morning, had a breath, and now I'm having a bath, and then I'm going to get out and I'm going to get dry. And the way they get dry is just fucking fascinating. The lodges have to have fires going all the time to keep the water in the lodge hot, and to dry the wood that is used to keep the stoves going. And so in the sheds, that smoking sheds to keep this wood dry, the wet monkeys all go in there and shake off, and then they basically get the wet off them while they're in the heated lodge, and they get their fur all dry, and they go, oh, lovely. I feel lovely again. I feel refreshed. And then straight out into the bush again, up a tree, fucking under a leaf, and had a good day today. Fucking had something to eat, had a root. Anyway, most of the history of Japan we know from these travel writers who would write about boring things, how innkeepers lived, how prostitutes lived, how men put a house together. And so because they're putting together in their writings just little bits of information. They put the crossbar on a house today. They put the main pole up on a house today. They put the battens on a house today, from 3 different writers. All these historians are now putting together, okay, so they do this, then they do this, then they do that. And they can retell how to do all these ancient crafts. And they found out how the status of people in society was, how they got the post back and forth. The post office runners ran for 4 kilometres flat out with a satchel of post, and then they'd get to the next post lodge, probably out of breath, stop, hand it on, tell them where it was going, and take out what had to stay local. And then the next guy fucking bolts onto the next thing. And then when he gets his breath back, he takes the local post to the sub-post offices and then walks back to the main branch, waits for the post coming the other way, grabs it and bolts back. And that's his day. He's had his fucking 10-kilometre run, and he's done his job, and he gets his rice, and he goes home. How's your day, dear? Oh, that dog in number 60 is still fucking barking. I don't know. Never get any mail that way, man. And that's how they basically put together their history of Japan, because all the official histories leave out the little people, the nobody people.
Yes.
And all the travel diaries put the little people in. They had the diary of a diary of a doctor convincing a little boy that he had to have the very end of his foreskin snipped off. The very end. End, because it had closed over, and he had very bad balanitis, and he said, it's gonna die, buddy, and it's all gonna fall off. And he's crying, and then and they snip it, and then he goes, oh, feels a lot better now, still stings, but, and he says it'll go away in a couple of days. And if it happens again, come back and see me. And apparently the punchline of the joke, he says, not likely, cut more off. And
you just want to cut some more off.
Fucking fair enough. If I was 10, I'm going, I'll come back to you.
Okay. I let you get away with cutting it, but you're not doing
it again, buddy.
You're not just gonna fucking
take an inch, they take a mile.
Oh dear.
Go over to Jerusalem. I'll have to show you what they do. Anyway, the travel diaries of Japan are pretty much where we get most of our very detailed history of the Edo period of Japan.
Yeah, and that all started in like the mid 19th century. People started writing books about their travels, which no one had previously. And as you say, they weren't the government; they weren't a historian. They would literally just write down what they saw. So they were writing down the ordinary things. That's why
And
Samuel, not that he was a travel writer, but that's why Samuel Pepys's diaries are regarded as important because he just wrote all this mundane trivia down that no
yep,
one else was recording, and so it became a really important insight into that period because he was just writing dumb, trivial shit that no one else was recording.
yeah. Sunday, got up, did mass, went out into the fields, saw two maidens complaining about their fucking husbands.
Yeah.
Realised that there was a poisoner in town.
Yeah.
Bloody one of the nice things about it's probably all travel diary historians will tell you this as well, but the Japanese historian, travel writer, diary people tell us that they can go right into ancient Japan with the travel diaries because things that happen today have their roots in things that happened yesterday. And you don't get to today unless you go backwards.
Yeah.
And one of the things that they discovered was that armor styles that they were finding in graves and in family museums and all that, battle armor,
Yes.
had different shapes because of the evolution of steel. So you get to the point where Japanese armor has this fucking big points around the shoulders. Yeah, big
Yes.
fucking big bloody big points around the shoulders. You see them on all the mechs in anime. These big points on the shoulders. You know, what the fuck's that about? And what it is that the steel was now finally good enough to go through your fucking head. So if you didn't have something to protect a sword coming at you from this way, you were kind of screwed because they could whip those things around pretty quick. And these protective spurs start as just as neck protectors that come out and get bigger and bigger. And they show the evolution of how much better Japanese steel was getting and when.
Yeah.
And so you can basically trace these things because of what you read now. What you read now in a travel diary says, oh, they're this big. And then you read 100 years later, they're this big. And then they become ornate. Then they become just for the look of the thing, because the samurais really stopped fighting after the total domination of the 7th or 8th shogun. There weren't any wars anymore. It was over. And so they had all these daimyo, but they were so totally under the thumb of the shogun that game was over, and it was just basically pageantry after that. Excuse me.
That's okay. Man's got to run off. All right, we'll stay. I just remembered I wanted to do my Simpsons thing before bedtime, so I'm just tapping that. AD's had a sudden call of nature, so we'll wait for him to come back before I say good night because it's about night time. It's that time. Yeah, it's like little Simpsons music playing. So poor AD's had to run off, and that does bring us more or less to the close of the evening. Although, as I said, we'll wait for AD to come back and then say good night. There's the man. So just waiting for you to come back to say good night because it is in fact bedtime.
I was in fact going to say the same thing. I love you guys. Thank you very much for
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good. All right. See you all later. I'll be back probably Tuesday